Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. I would like to give a special thanks to Dadeland, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram for giving me time with the all-new 2022 Jeep Wagoneer. If you're in the market for a Jeep, you can come check out Dadeland, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram and ask for Brian. He will get you into a new or pre-owned vehicle. And today's question for this particular video here, I want to know, is the Wagoneer worth buying? But looking here at the front styling here of the Wagoneer, keep in mind Jeep has discontinued the Wagoneer for nearly 30 years here in America. So if you guys are looking to buy a Wagoneer all over again, Jeep has finally answered your call. But looking here at the front styling here, this also has the 7-slot Jeep design language here, which is really nice and very aggressive here. As you guys can see, there's the Wagoneer name, which is spelled out. Very aggressive fonts here. I think the Wagoneer looks very handsome. It looks really good, especially in this black exterior color. I'm not a big fan of black cars, but it looks really good with the aluminum accents here. Looking at these headlights here, they're LED with this projector headlight, with the automatic low and high beam, with the LED turn signal, with an LED daytime run light. And looking down here at the lower part of the fascia, there is front parking sensors. There's also LED fog lights here, and there's more of the aluminum painted trim. And the square piece here is for the driver's assistance. We'll talk about that a little later on in the actual video. But making our way to the side profile here of the Wagoneer, looking at these tires and wheels here, these are a 275/55 tire. The wrapped in is 20-inch rim design. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of the rim design. I think Jeep should have did a little bit better here on the Series 2. And my model does have rear-wheel drive. You can also get four-wheel drive if you would like, but keep in mind it will be an additional option if you go for four-wheel drive. But looking at this mirror cap here, very large mirror cap. There's also this LED side marker, and up top, my model is missing that large panoramic sunroof here. And as you guys can see here, this also has these aerodynamic roof rails, and my model does come equipped with these running boards here, so your children can access the third row and second row as well. There is the Wagoneer name, which is spelled out with the American flag to show that you have American pride. So Jeep is bringing that concept here to the Wagoneer. But looking here at the rear of the Wagoneer, looking at these taillights, they're full LED with the LED turn signal, brake light, and reverse light. The reverse lights live down here at the lower part of the bumper. There's rear parking sensors. That's also the Wagoneer name, which is spelled out. And unfortunately, you can't open this glass unlike the Ford and the GM products, but there's this rear wiper here to keep the rear glass clean. Open up this, it does reveal the cargo back here. Once it opens up, it reveals 27 cubic feet of space. Once you fold down the third row, that expands the cargo to 70.9 cubic feet of space. Once you fold down everything, it expands the cargo to 116.1 cubic feet of space. But keep in mind that it's not best in class. The Cadillac Escalade holds the throne when it comes to best in class cargo space. But underneath here, Jeep does give you some underfloor storage. And to close it back, just hold this button here. Once you do that, you guys will hear this little chime. Once it closes, like I mentioned, it is a power opening tailgate, and it does close by itself. There's LED lights for the tag. There's the backup camera there with a washer on the end of it. And there's the Series 2 badge here. There's also rear parking sensors, like I mentioned. And once you remove this piece here, Jeep says you can tow 10,000 pounds. And there is a single exhaust trim piece here. And my model does have a V8 underneath the hood. But overall, let's hop into the interior of the Jeep Wagoneer. Sitting inside the interior of the Jeep Wagoneer, as you guys can see, looking at this interior here, this interior is super upscale. Jeep did a fantastic job here on the new Wagoneer's interior. It looks very modern. But reaching over here to shut the door of the Wagoneer, the door sounds pretty solid. But to start up the Wagoneer, just put your foot on the brake and press the start button right here on the dash. And my model, of course, does have that V8 underneath the hood. You guys are greeted by these two large infotainment systems here. This is a 10.1-inch display. You can customize that. Over here is going to be a 10.3-inch display. So very large infotainment systems here. It does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Once you guys do that, looking at the Apple CarPlay, very bright screen. This also runs the Uconnect 5 system, so we'll talk about that in a few moments. We're looking at the door panel materials here. Going to be a nice soft touch ejection molded plastic with this wood-like trim. There's also this aluminum door handle here. There's two purse memory seats, so your spouse can adjust the seating controls to their liking. There's also your mirror controls here with your lock controls and your window controls. It is auto up, auto down for all four windows. The switch gear in here does feel really nice. I love the stitching here. Over here is the headlight controls, the dimmer switch controls, and you can adjust the pedals if you would like. And there's electronic parking brake. This is a power tilt and telescoping wheel. Me personally, I'm not sure how to feel about this two-spoke wheel design. There's a Wagoneer name spelled out here on the airbag cover. Over here is for the driver's assistance. It does have forward collision warning with lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring. As you guys can see, very large windows here. The materials on the dash are going to be a nice soft touch ejection molded plastic. The air vents here are very large. Looking at this infotainment system here, going here to the embedded navigation, which runs the Uconnect 5 system. They have been updating this over the years. Very fast touch response here. It's a TomTom navigation. Going here to the Apple CarPlay Looking here at the Waze map, as you guys can see, it takes up the entire screen. Really nice display here for the new Connect 5 system. There's a volume and tune knob here, and the push button start does kind of stick out a little bit. Over is the turn signal stock. The wind wiper stock is right there. Me personally, I'm still not a big fan of the 2-spoke wheel design. I'm not sure how to feel about it just yet. Over here is how you cycle through that 8-speed automatic transmission. Down here, there's additional storage and cup holder space. And my model does have the Alpine sound system, which sounds pretty good. And this is grab handle here. Some other competitors don't even offer a grab handle to get inside the driver's seat here. Looking over here, as you guys can listen really quickly, that's a real metal shifter. Putting the Wagoneer into reverse here, it does reveal a backup camera. There's no top-down 360 view here. You have to go for a top trim if you want that feature. My model is the Series 2. Switching over here to drive, this does house the 8-speed automatic transmission. Putting it back into park. Looking right here, this is the key fob for the Wagoneer. There's a lock, unlock, remote start, a panic button, also a trunk release button there. The key does feel nice and sturdy to hold in my hands. There's an automatic start stop function there, lane keep assist. You can also touch it as a touch sensitive panel here. If you guys go for a top trim of the Wagoneer, once you close this door here, it will have a display screen where the seating controls will be. Unfortunately, my model does not have that. There's a hazard switch, the parking sensors, there's a tow haul mode. There's also a mute button here for the infotainment system. There's some shortcut buttons here. I love the wood-like trim here on the actual dash. Open up this, it does reveal a little bit of storage. My iPhone 12 Pro Max does fit in there, but you cannot have it connected because the cable will basically bend. But I like this wood-like trim here. This area is going to be nice and padded. Open up this, it does reveal a deep amount of storage in there. Really nice storage spaces here in the Wagoneer. And above me, my model is missing that large panoramic sunroof. There's the 3-car garage remote here. There is LED lights out the cabin. Open up this, it does reveal this convex mirror to spy on your passengers in the back. And there's also a sunglass holder as well. The seats in here, they're very comfortable and very plush. They're for a person with a wider frame. But overall, I'm very impressed with this cabin. Super nice, luxurious cabin. So Jeep did come to play when they redesigned the Wagoneer for 2022. So getting into the second and third row here of the Jeep Wagoneer, as you guys can see here, the door opens at a really good angle, so your children can access the second and third row. And keep in mind, my model does have these running boards here, so they can get into this large body-on-frame SUV. There's also this grab handle here, but getting back here, and as you guys can see, my model does have the bench seating here, so you can fit up to 8 people in comfort, which is super impressive here on the new Wagoneer. But shutting the door here, the door sounds pretty solid. There's also air vents here on the side pillar. There's this grab handle like I mentioned. The material's gonna be a nice soft touch ejection molded plastic. There's this wood-like trim here. And my model does also have the Alpine sound system, which sounds pretty good as well. There's LED lights throughout the cabin. There's this grab handle, and the air vents do live up top. And there's also air vents here with more than nice wood trim. You also have your own set of climate controls back here. There's a Type-C port with a Type-A. Open up this, it does reveal a household outlet. There's also a 12-volt here. And the floor back here is not flat, but Jeep says you get around 42.7 inches of legroom here. And you can slide the seat forward and back to give the third row passengers a little bit more space. There's also this recline feature here, so you can stretch out on a long road trip, which is really nice. And my model is missing that panoramic sunroof. If you guys go for that panoramic sunroof option, the third row passengers will also get a sunroof option. They will also get a sunroof as well. And there's also 2 mount pockets back here. And my model is missing that rear seat entertainment, but the Wagoneer does feel very spacious back here as well. I love the stitching on the door panel and whatnot. But get into the third row really quickly. Jeep gives you this button here. Once you press the button, the seat will kind of tilt forward. I'm just gonna push this up a little bit and just cross over the seat here. But getting back here, like I mentioned, my model can sit up to 8 people in comfort. As you guys can see, you can sit a middle passenger here, and Jeep says you get around 36.2 inches of legroom. So really good legroom space back here in the third row. There's also a coat hanger back here with more lighting. There's also a cup holder. There's also a Type-C with a Type-A port there, and there's a little air vent here, which is really nice. But overall, the second and third row of the Jeep Wagoneer is very spacious and very comfortable. Let's talk about the powertrain specs here for the Jeep Wagoneer. Open up the hood here. This does have Jeep's 5.7 liter V8. This powertrain makes 392 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. It is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is very silky and very smooth to shift the gears. As the Wagoneer sits here, weighs around 5,700 pounds, and Jeep says you can tow 10,000 pounds properly equipped. Fuel economy for this V8 is rated at 16 in the city, 22 on the highway, and 18 combined. So starting off in the 2022 Jeep Wagoneer here, my model does have that 5.7 liter V8, which makes 392 horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. So really good horsepower and torque numbers here. There's also paired with an 8-speed ZF design transmission. So that 8-speed automatic is very smooth and very silky. And my model is missing paddle shifters. I just noticed that, but there is some rocker panels on the back of the stern wheel here to change the radio settings and whatnot. The visibility out of the Wagoneer here is really good. You also have these large mirrors here with the blind spot monitoring. This also has lane keep assist with forward collision warning. So really good driver's assistance here from Jeep. And like I mentioned, this does have that V8. So fuel economy is rated at 16 in the city, 22 on the highway, and 18 combined. And honestly, this V8 is just really quiet for a V8. And this vehicle here is really quiet. And keep in mind, this thing does weigh 5,700 pounds, so she ain't light. And my model is a Series 2 model, so it's a rear-wheel drive. You can get four-wheel drive if you would like. So basically, it would drive off-road wheels, which is really good for off-roading. If you want to take your Wagoneer off-roading, my model is rear-wheel drive, which comes standard. Four-wheel drive is going to be an additional option if you guys want that feature. And Jeep does allow you to get an adaptive air suspension, so you can lower and raise this vehicle if you would like, especially if you have smaller children. But my model does come with running boards, so they can access the second and third row very easily. But this interior here is up to par. I like this interior. Very luxury in here. You also have this 10.1 inch digital gauge cluster. You also have this 10.3 inch Uconnect 5 system here. One of the best systems in this class. Very snappy system. I showed you guys that in the inside scene. But the ride quality of the Wagoneer is really good. The steering feel is very good. And this suspension just feels super smooth. I think it drives better than the Escalade that I just recently tested about a month or two ago. This one rides even better, and that one didn't even have the air suspension, but this just rides like it actually has air suspension, which is really impressive here. And honestly, I don't feel like this vehicle is just big. It drives just like any other vehicle in this segment. It doesn't feel large or anything like that. You also have best-in-class leg room. You also have 42.7 inches of leg room in the second row. You get 36.7 in the third row. But let's do a launch here. It gets up to speed really quickly as well. Honestly, you can't even hear the V8, which is just super impressive. But this ride quality of the Wagoneer is really good. You also have good technology, like I mentioned. You also have this Uconnect 5 system, which is really good. It does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wireless, or you can use the USB cable if you would like. So I think Jeep did build something really nice. Jeep did want to basically come to play when they redesigned the Wagoneer for 2022. So the question I asked in the beginning of the video, is the Wagoneer worth buying? The simple answer for me is going to be yes. Starting price here for the Wagoneer is at $68,845 with the options and accessories, including destination. The Wagoneer stickers for $71,440. Hope you guys have enjoyed this review here. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Drive1Reviews and hit that subscribe button. And I see you all in the next review.